Hey y'all, Michelle Raza here with the Finding Yourself Book Club, and today we're going to talk about Lindsay Gibson's Recovering from Emotionally Immature Parents. We've been talking about I forgot what chapter this is, I think chapter 5, where we're talking about effective skills for dealing with EI parents or EI people. So we've talked about the first one, which is step out of your rescuer role. It is not your job to make your EI parents or EIPs in your life, or anyone for that matter. It is not your job to make them happy, and you don't have to rescue them. You want to be supportive, you want to be with them, you want to hold their hand, but you don't need to rescue them. And one of the things that we talked about in the previous video was the next book that I'm going to cover is Melody Beattie's Codependent No More. In that book, she talks about, it's based on the 12 steps, and she talks about how to get out of that mindset of wanting to rescue someone who has substance abuse issues or other issues where you're always rescuing them. So in this case, Lindsay's advocating for us to step out of our rescuer role. The second one is be slippery and sidestep. And so that's when you've tried to have conflict resolution and you see that they're not really open to two-way communication. It's kind of one way, my way or the highway. You just avoid conflict with them, and with the understanding that you're not going to resolve issues, right? You're avoiding conflict for the sake of avoiding conflict. And it's because maybe you've tried before to resolve conflict and you don't really get anywhere. And this goes back to Lindsay's idea of relatedness, not relationship. You want them to be in your life because they are your family, but knowing that they're emotionally immature, the chances of you having a real relationship with them are very, very small. I'm not sure if I put in the plug for my website. Please do visit us. We're at www.findingyourselfsatx.com. There you can take our free life balance questionnaire and send it to us. You can also just fill out a contact form and we'll be in touch. It is me that responds to those emails and the messages, and also all of your comments on YouTube. It's me that responds. So still a small operation and very happy to engage with you guys. Okay. So here, lead the interaction. When you are interacting with EIPs, parents or otherwise, you are dealing with people who are lacking in flexibility, empathy, and frustration tolerance. They try to dominate using a few fixed defenses, which can include much control, criticism, and negativity. But their emotional overreactivity also gives you the opportunity to lead the interaction to your preferred outcome. You can steer and deepen the conversation. If you grew up with an EI parent, you may never have learned how to step in and steer conversations toward a more congenial topic. As a child, it felt like your role was to be the audience for whatever they wanted to talk about. But now, as an adult, you can take a leadership role in the conversation. You can change a topic, redirect a negative line of thought, soften a fear, or derail an oration by asking questions that alter the conversational path. Be ready to nudge conversations in a different direction. You can create by being ready to nudge conversations in a different direction, you can create interactions that feel more positively engaging to you. And I think the point here is that you are not a victim. Maybe when you were a child, you didn't know any better. You couldn't ask questions. You couldn't change the topic. You were kind of just sitting there and you had to listen. But not anymore. You can interrupt and you can change. If they're talking about something really negative or something they're just going on and on and on, you can interrupt with something tactical like, hey Dad, we're having dinner next week, right? What time is that at again? What's the restaurant? Oh, I love that food there. I'm really excited to go there with you. So here we move on to, you can introduce broader topics. Because EIPs think in stereotyped ways, they get stuck in conversational ruts they can't shift out of, even if they wanted to. The rigidity of their self-absorption limits their topics. They may secretly welcome someone leading out of the blind canyons of their own preoccupations. You can ask about favorite TV shows and movies and what they liked about them. Inquire into the best places they found to buy things, food preferences, and virtually anything else in an area of their interest. You're not selling out, you're directing the show. You are deliberately staying active instead of slipping into passivity and dissociation. So here, if the EIP has like a favorite topic that they love to go off on, and it's kind of like an oration and it's no longer a conversation, they're kind of talking at you, keep it to them because they love to talk about themselves, but start asking them a different line of questioning that can make you feel more engaged in the conversation. And they might be taken by surprise. In one of Lindsay's books, and I think it's the previous one, she talks about a daughter asking her EIP mother, asking her some questions that were somewhat deep. And sometimes the EIP will react by shutting you down or, telling you that you're being silly or why are you talking about these things. But in this case, nobody had ever taken that type of interest in the mother. And she broke down and she started crying and they had a moment. And it doesn't have to be deep. It can be like she said here, talking about TV shows and food and stuff, but just something different so that you don't have to hear the same thing again and again and again. If they're like into politics, right? And so every time you go and meet them, they're talking about the same 5 topics in politics that they talked about last time, and it's just very frustrating, and maybe you don't see eye to eye on that stuff. You don't have to engage and you don't have to sit there silently. You can change the topic. And another tip that I think she's mentioned previously is when you're done, it's okay to leave. It's okay to make up an appointment and say that you have to go, that you're really sorry, that you really miss them and you wish you could stay for dinner and dessert, but oh, look at the time, I gotta go. And maybe they'll see through it, but they're not going to call you out on it. And if they do, just acknowledge it. Just, oh, yes, maybe you're right, Dad, but I still have to go. I'm going to be late. Sorry, we'll talk about this later. Bye. So I think a lot of what Lindsay's telling us is not for the sake of being disingenuous. It's when you've tried in the past, you've tried really hard being sincere, you've tried building good relationships, and you're seeing that has failed. So these are tips for how to deal with emotionally immature people in other ways. And this goes back to what she talks about, meeting them at their level. They are much more likely to be receptive to you if you keep telling them, like, I really want to have a conversation, I want to share our feelings. They're not going to be receptive. But if you are able to meet them at their level, chances are, slowly but surely, they might open up and they might become more receptive. You have to remember that for a lot of the EIPs, it's a cycle, okay? They're not evil. They didn't grow up wanting to be this way. Their parents were EIPs and now they're EIPs. And so every time as a child that they had a real emotion or some type of excitement that they wanted to share and celebrate, they were shut down. And that created real fear in their hearts about being true to their emotions. And so just like you as the child of an EIP has to take some time to reconnect with your own emotions and learn how to feel them and learn how to trust them, when you slowly but surely start connecting with them, it might be a little scary if you start diving into the world of emotions. And so this is why she recommends just keeping it light, talking about TV shows and weather and whatever, but not letting them dictate what the conversation is going to be. You don't need to sit through it, and you don't even need to stay there. You can change the topic of the conversation and you can leave. There's nothing tying you down there. And that doesn't mean you don't love them. You absolutely love them, and maybe you'll see them next week. And every time it happens, it'll get a little bit less awkward and a little bit easier. So hang in there. I know this is hard work. Sorry for not doing the right outfit change in these videos, but I'm running short on time. I'm looking forward to talking with you guys next week. Please do like and subscribe. It really does help us little YouTubers. And visit our website if you get a chance. And yeah, I didn't get to upload the Stranger in a Strange Land. It's not a super popular series. It's just close to my heart. So I will get to that eventually. But glad to be here with you guys. Please do leave your comments. I love interacting with y'all and look forward to talking with you on Tuesday. Take care.